Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're just doing a reading of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah. It's so hot.
Yes, we're having a heat wave here in New York.
Today it was 99 degrees.
Almost hit the 100. That's Fahrenheit. What is that? 30? 35?
39, 37.
No.
Tomorrow will be 100 degrees. That should be fun.
What is that in centigrade? Someone can write it down below.
Anyway, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 3.
5.
5.
So that's
Okay, are you sure? Alright.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 5. The king replied, O great soul Narada, my intelligence is entangled in fruitive activities. Therefore I do not know the ultimate goal of life. Kindly instruct me in pure knowledge so that I can get out of the entanglement of fruitive activities. Purport. Srila Narottam Das Thakur Asat. Sat Sangha Chadi Kanu Asate Vilas. Te Karane Lagila Ye Karma Bandha Pansa. As long as a person is entangled in fruitive activities, he is bound to accept one body after another. This is called karma bandha pansa, entanglement in fruitive activities. It does not matter whether one is engaged in pious or impious activities, for both are causes for further entanglement in material bodies. By pious activities, one can take birth in a rich family and get a good education and a beautiful body, but this does not mean that the distresses of life are ultimately eliminated. In the Western countries, it is not unusual for one to take birth in a rich aristocratic family, nor is it unusual for one to have a good education and a very beautiful body. But this does not mean that Westerners are free from the distresses of life. Although at the present moment the younger generation in Western countries has sufficient education, beauty and wealth, and although there is enough food, clothing and facilities for sense gratification, they are in distress. Indeed, they are so distressed that they become hippies, and the laws of nature force them to accept a wretched life. Thus they go about unclean and without shelter or food, and they are forced to sleep in the street. It can be concluded that one cannot become happy by simply performing pious activities. It is not a fact that those who are born with a silver spoon in their mouth are free from the material miseries of birth, old age, disease and death. The conclusion is that one cannot be happy by simply executing pious or impious activities. Such activities simply cause entanglement and transmigration from one body to another. Narottam Das Thakur calls this karma bandha pansa. Yeah, I guess Prabhupada was writing is at the time of the hippie era. Or, what is it? Kalpa. Hippie kalpa. So he was seeing all these people frustrated, and for him coming from India, I'm not saying he's not like worldly or educated, but still coming from India and seeing look how much facilities you have, and he always would point out, which was interesting, that you have, you know, you're good looking, you have, you're born in a country that's free, as it were, you know, and you have rights, you have rights, not so many benefits, as it were. And then he was so astonished when you hear his lectures and that in fact they're not happy, you know. Although for him the conclusion was that they're not happy as for anyone not being happy because you're not connected with the Supreme. But it's interesting just to put that in context, that he was coming and seeing that. And it just reminds me of I often say it like that when we're out and about, especially here, because dogs are like a big thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen dogs have shoes, but they do have them here. In the winter because their feet get cold, and in the summer because their feet burn. But they have shoes, and they have really nice jackets and tops, nicer than I got even, you know. And my mum would see on the TV in London, like there was like clinics or hospitals or spa places. Like when you watch a program, a documentary, and they show it, she'd always be shocked. Like, look at that, and she'd think back to the village we're from, where my dad's from, and she'd be like, those people back there would not be able to comprehend the facilities that even the dogs have in the Western world. You know, it always blew her mind. Like, Mike, look at that! Oh my God! Yeah, it's interesting, but still, we are not happy.
Next paragraph. King Prachina Barhishat admitted this fact and frankly asked Narada Muni how he could get out of this karma bandha pansa, entanglement and fruitive activities. This is actually the stage of knowledge indicated in the first verse of Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, when one actually reaches the platform of frustration in an attempt to discharge karma bandha pansa. He inquires about the real value of life, which is called Brahma Jigyasu. In order to inquire about the ultimate goal of life, the Vedas, Mundaka Upanishad 11.2.12, enjoin Taviganartam Sagudam Eva Bigachet. In order to understand the transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. So, nice points. So basically, Prabhupada takes it to the next level that when one becomes frustrated, which basically the implication is that the material world is meant to make you frustrated. The material world is meant to make you frustrated so that you inquire, what is the goal of life? You inquire, why am I here? Why am I so frustrated? Why am I not happy? How can I become happy? And then the answer, Prabhupada says, is Brahma Jigyasu, that in order that we have to inquire, Brahma Jigyasu, I am, inquire into Brahman, inquire into the nature of spirit, the nature of the spirit soul. And how do you do that? Prabhupada says that we have to approach a spiritual master.
Final paragraph. King Prachini Barhishat found the best spiritual master, Narada Muni, and he therefore asked him about that knowledge by which one can get out of the entanglement of karma bandhu pansa, fruitive activities. This is the actual business of human life. Jivasya sattva jijnasha nato yes cheha karma-bhi.
Jivasya tattva jigyasa narto yas cheha karma bihi.
That's what I said, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But you see, the thing is, it's dark. I don't know if you can tell. I can't actually see my book.
Okay.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm going like this. Look.
Yeah.
As stated in the second chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.10, a human being's only business is inquiring from a bona fide spiritual master about extrication from the entanglement of karma bandha pansa. Nice point, you know. I was just looking at some photos actually of a spiritual master surrounded by his disciples and like little one-to-one photos and whatnot, like candid photos taken, and it was interesting, you know, because it's like at the end of the day we strive to get the mercy or shelter of a guru for this reason, to extricate ourselves from this misery and why am I suffering and how do I get out. And it isn't in a way like, oh, this guru is no good because I'm still working a job I hate, or I'm having to pay my mortgage and I'm struggling, and oh, this, you know, this, that. He isn't here for all that, you know. He isn't here. I got problems with my kids, they drive me nuts, you know, or whatever. Well, I want to get married or whatever. I remember one time way back, like another lifetime, but when I was speaking to my guru, well, I wasn't the one speaking, but a lot of other ladies were. I was not, but somehow, anyway. And they all, one by one, they were just really upset mainly because they weren't married and that. And it was interesting because at one point Maharaj said, God, now I forgot, it's such a long time ago. Anyway, yeah, I think he said something like, this isn't for me to deal with, this isn't for me to answer the marriage issue, this isn't why I'm here, sort of thing. Kind of made it clear. It's interesting, he wasn't, that's not my role, it's not my function to be doing all that. But yeah, it's true, it's almost like wasting the opportunity, it's like if you're lost in a burning forest or something, or falling off a cliff, and someone comes and like, wait a minute, can you tell me what would be good for me, what diet should I follow, or what's going on in the stock market, or what, what's happening is you're going to burn to death, or you're going to fall off a cliff, and someone is throwing you a lifeline. Just take the lifeline and just, take the help that person's offering, and don't kind of like divert and say, yeah, but when I get to that ground, then what's going to happen? Or when I grab that, well, who's, this,
Why
that,
did
then.
Sally say something to me
Yeah.
the other day that was so upsetting?
It's like, because Prabhupada uses that example, isn't he? Like the house is burning.
Marry, or why aren't I?
Yeah, the house is burning.
You don't ask who set the fire.
Yeah.
You ask, how do I get
Just
out?
get out. And so that's what's, the point. I am so hot, by the way, this is why I'm blabbering, but the point I'm making is that, the importance of a bona fide spiritual master, and just reminding ourselves, if we are fortunate enough to have a bona fide spiritual master, why he's there, or she's there. Why are they there? And then always honing in on that. And that will, because then you can loop back to the beginning of the purport, that will actually make us happy, not all the clothing, facilities and sense gratification, just basically taking that advice that spiritual master has come to give, basically. That will mitigate the miseries.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Hare Bhakti.